Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
All right, stop the music, break the record. This is Michael Savage, back from vacation. The world is once again at war. Blood all over Europe as a result of the radical Islamic terrorism that is raging around the world. Hussein, of course, in America has nothing to say about it. Hussein continues to release drug dealers from prison. Hussein continues to flood America on our southern border with God knows countries of origin. No one knows where they're coming from. Meanwhile, Merkel, the psychotic reversal of Hitler, who is accomplishing what Hitler did in reverse, instead of invading other nations, the psychotic, blood-crazed madwoman is invading her own nation with murderers, rapists, and thieves. Now they don't know where the killer is? Have you seen the latest, ladies and gentlemen, of what went on? The Germans have released the truck terrorist from prison. Merkel said, we don't know if he did it. Maybe 1,000 people saw him do it. But they said that his DNA was not in the truck. Do you know what this is? They will blame it on a right-winger as sure as I'm sitting here in this chair in front of this microphone. This is a standard Stasi from the Eastern European Stasi secret police. This is a double cover-up by Merkel's psychotic Nazi socialist police. That's number one. They released the guy who killed all these people in the truck. When ISIS has taken responsibility for the Berlin attack, everyone knows who did it except that potato-faced, oven-stuffing witch from hell. And I'm supposed to be on vacation. How can you stay on vacation? Should I just walk on the sand and pick shells while the psychotic is killing her own people? While here in America, the psychotic is on vacation releasing drug dealers? And did you see what happened in Turkey? What do you think that's all about? A Russian ambassador, more or less ambassador, is shot in cold blood in the head in an art museum during an opening. And the Turkish policeman who did it was on temporary leave. Did you hear what the assassin shouted? In addition to the Allahu Akbar part of it, that Fox News and all of the other sensitive people in the media have left out. Everyone knows what this was about. In this program, The Savage Nation Today, we have translated for you what the Muslim Turkish murderer was screaming in addition to Allahu Akbar. Oh, sure, it's terrorism. It's terrorism in Germany. It's terrorism in Turkey. And it's all coming from one locus. And we will get to the bottom of this story on The Savage Nation. Who do you think was behind the murder of the Russian ambassador? Do you think it was just a deranged Turkish cop? I don't. Who do you think it was who drove the truck into the crowd in Germany? With blood all over the streets of Germany, where are the German men? Where have the German men gone? They've been beaten to death by the radical feminist socialist left. Exactly what would have happened in this country had God not stepped in and given us Donald Trump. You heard what I said. You know I've been critical of some of his appointments, but never of him. I believe it was God's hand that saved us from Merkel's twin sister, the evil one, Hillary Clinton. Just remember how lucky you are to have Donald Trump. Just remember that. He's put one military man after another in every top position in this country, save the transportation department, which he gave to Mitch McConnell's wife. But that's a minor point. The terror that you are seeing around the world would be visiting us here, were it not for Donald Trump coming in. Now, my friends, the phone number here is 855-400-7282. 855-400-SAVAGE. I'm in a remote studio somewhere near a beach in South Florida where the weather is that of summer rather than that of winter. Had I known it would be summer rather than winter, I wouldn't have come here. But I'm here, and here I am. Again, the phone number is 855-400-7282. If you care to join the program. Why did the Germans release the truck terrorist from jail? Is Merkel behind the release? Who do you think she will blame it on? Do you think NATO was behind the killing of the Russian ambassador? By the way, another Russian diplomat was found dead from gunshot wounds hours after the ambassador murder. Did you hear that one? Who is behind all of this? Why is this going on in Europe? Now, of course, here in America, we have Barack Insane Obama, who is surfing in Hawaii somewhere. And Barack Insane Obama is the man who used the pen to get everything he wanted, meaning overriding Congress, spitting on the people, threatening the Supreme Court. The monster warns Trump against relying on the very powers that he grabbed for himself. We're going to play that sound for you in a second, but you got to hear this. This psychotic Barack Insane Obama thought that all of his little autocratic dictatorship moves were going to be passed on with a magic wand to Hillary the witch. But they lost, and they lost for good. And now all of the powers that he grabbed to himself will be used by Donald Trump to save America from the madness that Hussein has inflicted upon this nation. Here is the double-talking psycho, Barack Insane Obama, in clip 2. Listen carefully to a deranged mind.
I think that he is entirely within his lawful power to do so. Keep in mind, though, that my strong preference has always been to legislate when I can get legislation done. And even after
Hitler said the same thing.
He lost.
He had a revert. He had a resort to dictatorship.
I've been over backwards consistently to try to find
not holding a
compromise and a legislative solution to some of the big problems that we've got. So my suggestion to the...
all right, stop with the booming voice already. You're a liar and a sicko. My suggestion is put him in jail. That's my suggestion. What this man has done to this country. My suggestion. Took time out for the surfboard. He's already telling Trump not to use what he used. You hear this? Are you listening to me on the Savage? Is anyone out there? Am I the only one who took time off from vacation? What should I be doing? Not talking about world events? I had a big fight with my family. They said, you said you weren't going to go back on the radio. You said you were taking 2 weeks off. You said you wouldn't do it. I said I couldn't sleep all night when I saw the truck job in Germany. When I saw the ambassador being shot in the head by another Muslim. When I see Obama warning us that Trump shouldn't rely on executive power when that's all this skinny monster has done his entire life. How could I not go on the radio? What am I supposed to do, sit here? Where are the German men? That's the one question I have. I look around. I see people who look like German men. They talk like German men. They walk like German men. There are German fighters who are as tough as anyone in the world. Where have they gone? I'll tell you where they went. They were beaten to death by the radical feminist socialists in Germany, the same way the men in America have been beaten into submission by the radical socialist feminists in this country, who thought they had it locked with Hillary Clinton. But they didn't have it locked. She's gone. It's a new nation. It's a new world. It's a new world order. And it's not the one that the radical feminist socialists thought that they had locked for sure. And that is why I am not on vacation. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the stock market, instead of going down with the assassinations and the Muslim terror, shot up to 20,000. It's as high as the humidity in Miami. It just doesn't quit. This is the Savage Nation. The phone number is 855-407-282. Our first caller is from Sean on WABC. Sean, line 3. Fire away. You're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind?
I don't think it was Merkel behind letting this guy go, this terrorist, this animal. I think that's how soft the Europeans have become because of their liberal, weak, I can't say the word.
Well, okay, let me explain, Sean. You're wrong, and I'll explain why. Merkel is up for re-election. She was not a shoo-in because of her immigration policies, which are that of Adolf Hitler in reverse. While Hitler invaded surrounding nations and imposed Germanic views upon them, she's invading her own nation with Muslims and imposing Sharia law on the German people. And she was hovering between maybe not getting elected, maybe getting elected. This terror attack, if it was tied to the Muslim who actually did it, would be the end of Merkel. And the new leadership would put her in jail for what she's done to our country. So she took her entire security apparatus, which is extremely powerful. Remember her background. She comes from the old Eastern European bloc. She is a communist through and through. She is practicing a standard tactic of the Stasi in Eastern Europe. And she has released a terrorist under the fake notion that his DNA was not in the truck. What do you mean his DNA? What kind of DNA did she expect to find? What, he wasn't wearing gloves? What, she expect his saliva on the windshield? Sean, it's a cover-up in order to make sure people say, well, we don't know who did it. So that, let us say, Anderson Cooper can start saying, well, we don't know who did it. It maybe was a Muslim. And then all the others on Fox News, we don't know who did it. We don't know who did it. It could be a right-winger just trying to blame Muslims. It could be Islamophobia. Wait till they start working the number here. They're more phony than the Elvis impersonator I saw last night on Atlantic Avenue in Delray. In fact, he was more authentic than Merkel is. Thanks for the call, Sean. He's a heck of an impersonator, I got to tell you. Well, I got too worked up already. It's 16 minutes after the hour. The phone number is 855-472-82. I saw an Elvis impersonator last night down here on the beach. I got to tell you, it's tied to politics in a way. And it was an older crowd for sure, but they loved him. He sang all of Elvis's favorites in an outdoor bar. All of a sudden, toward the end, they all pulled out little American flags. I thought I was at a Trump rally. I couldn't believe my eyes. And he started playing JFK's great speech about how great America was. It was so fantastic to be in a part of America that's not like San Francisco that I think I never want to go back to that hellhole filled with American-hating, psychotic drug addicts. The whole Bay Area is filled with sick people. Even if you're not sick, you walk around like you're sick to fit in out there. No one ever dares show patriotism in San Francisco for afraid that some unwashed drug addict will attack him. That's the opening to the show. Be here.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Welcome back to the Savage Nation. We cannot get Trump's generals in power soon enough. We have got to rid ourselves of the leftist, socialist, feminist administration that is putting us all at risk. What is happening in Germany could happen here in the blink of an eye as the president of the United Criminals of America is surfing his last weeks away in Hawaii while releasing criminals from prison. Headline, Wall Street Journal, Tuesday, December 20th, 2016. Truck rams market in Berlin. So the trunk was what? Remote controlled? What was it, a toy that just rammed the market in Berlin? Again, a cover-up by the Wall Street Journal. You know, we used to have newspapers that screamed headlines that told you what exactly happened. But it says truck rams market. No, it wasn't a truck that rammed the market. A Muslim fanatic rammed people and killed them in a truck. And so the correct headline would be, Muslim terrorist goes on rampage in Berlin Christmas tree market. But no, it's a truck that rammed the market. It was on remote control, I guess. It was a child's toy that went awry. The battery failed, and it went into the market. But wait, there's more to that story. Now they're trying to blame it on a Polish man. What you don't know is the truck was a Polish truck, stolen, are you listening to me, from a Polish construction site. And a Polish man was found dead in the truck. Well, who do you think the Polish man was? The Polish man was the Polish driver who was obviously hijacked by the Muslim gang who shot him dead and left him in the cab and then drove the truck into the German people out buying a Christmas tree and then fled the scene. And today, of course, the Germans used the techniques of the ex-Eastern European Stasi and released the murderer himself from prison, saying there was not enough evidence to hold him. What kind of evidence do you need, you idiot, you? There are 12 dead people and many, many injured. What does Merkel need to hold him? I think Merkel should be arrested under house arrest. When does a nation rise up and arrest a leader? What would have to happen in a country like our own? How much blood would have to be in the streets until the people took to the White House and demanded the president be arrested? You telling me it couldn't happen? Why is Merkel permitting so many Muslims to flood into that nation, that beautiful nation? Where does this woman come from that she would do a thing like this? Well, look into her background. You don't know who she is? You think she's just another German? You're mistaken if you don't know her history. Frau Merkel comes from an Eastern European background, number one. Number two, a communist. Number three, she's a socialist, communist type. Not just a communist Leninist, but a communist socialist type. And the best way to destroy the patriarchy is to overpower it with another patriarchy. Do you get it? You know, one of the cries of the feminist movement for the last God knows how many decades has been against the patriarchy. But notice what they're doing to the white, heterosexual, Christian patriarchy. They are attacking it with another patriarchy, aren't they? Now, what makes these feminist psychotics think that the Muslim patriarchs that they're bringing in, who are as bloodthirsty on the earth as you could ever find, are going to suddenly embrace the feminists? Are they that sick? Do they actually think that they're going to work with them in some beautiful, future sectarian, beautiful a nation? Jim on KLIF in Dallas. By the way, the show just got its ratings. We are far and away going crazy in New York on WABC. By a land mile, we're leading everybody on WABC. KLIF through the roof. Thank you, Texas. And I want to hear from someone on FTL before the show is over. Jim, what's your opinion now from Texas?
Well, Dr. Savage, I'm thinking that the Russian ambassador assassination looked to me to be two-staged, okay? Now, follow me, if you will. I just saw the movie.
All right, sir, give us the bottom line because there's only 40 seconds. Give me the bottom conclusion.
Well, in the movie Allied, Brad Pitt killed the German ambassador in Morocco, and the Germans wanted their own ambassador taken out. That was the whole plot of the story.
But please give me the plot that you see in the world. I have 30 seconds left now.
Well, I'm afraid that they may have staged the assassination or as a pretext to go into Syria and take out ISIS before...
Wait, sir, they just took out ISIS in Aleppo. What do you mean take out ISIS? ISIS was just knocked out of Aleppo.
Right, they're out of Aleppo, but they're still in Syria and western Iraq.
So you're saying the Russians killed their own diplomat in order to invade Syria? They're already in Syria.
Well, I'm afraid that might be the kind of world we're headed in.
I don't think you're right, sir. I totally disregard that opinion. I'll tell you why when I come back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
The psychos on the left couldn't unseat him with the electors. They tried their best. What are they going to do, leave America now? Why don't they move to Aleppo? I'll buy Barbara Streisand a one-way ticket on a private jet if she'd leave this nation of ours, along with her Hollywood rat pack. None of them are leaving. How many moved to Canada? None are liars. Why don't they move to Allahu Akbar? Why doesn't she move to Allahu Akbar land? Go with her brethren over there and see how they treat her over there, that she hates America so much. Truck terror hits Berlin. Turkish cop kills Russian ambassador. Trump takes all 29 Florida votes. On and on it goes. Truck strikes crowd, killing 12 in Germany. That's the headline that's the best. That's the journalist in America. Truck strikes crowd. Not Muslim fanatic strikes crowd. Truck strikes crowd. It's just on its own. It was a remote-controlled truck. It was from a remote view. Someone wanted a truck to go and hit Germans. It wasn't a Muslim terrorist. Even ISIS says they did it. But apparently the Palm Beach Post didn't even read ISIS's missive. New York Post. Truck terror hits Berlin. Not Islamic terror hits Berlin. Apparently the idiots of the New York Post, Murdoch's sons, the two weak-chinned boys, don't even understand their own newspaper business. How do they get these things? If they didn't inherit this newspaper, they couldn't run a Carvel stand in my day. Sons like that. Imagine a guy like that has children like that put out a newspaper that loses money like this. Could you imagine having a father as powerful and as smart as him and produce these two chinless wonders? They put out this left-wing garbage. They take over TV stations and they run them into the ground with left-wing propaganda around the clock. They don't understand the country has changed. Wait till it gets even better. Americans aren't convinced Russia influenced the election. No kidding. The propaganda didn't work. Sorry to tell you, CIA. Republican lawmaker wants to mandate porn blockers on all computers. Attention! Did you hear that one? Law News. Republican lawmaker wants to mandate porn blockers on all computers. We've got a new America emerging. It's a better America. It's a cleaner America. It's a Larry Flint free America. It's an America where the First Amendment will be cleansed of the pornography. It's an America where the First Amendment will have the meaning it was intended for, not to protect gangsters in the porn business, but to protect free speech. We have a new America. Just give it a few years. You're not going to believe the country you are living in. It will be safe for your mother to walk to the corner again. We will have law and order in America and around the world. That is my hope. That is what I think will happen. But what do we do in the interim when we still have Hussein over there, the surfer? The surfer still has a few weeks left. He releases hundreds of drug dealers from prison. Why? Why is he doing this? Why is Hussein releasing drug dealers around the clock? More than all the presidents in the past put together. What is this with releasing drug dealers? I love they're all Here's Shepard Smith. The president released an unprecedented number of prisoners from the prison, but they're all nonviolent. You mean selling drugs is nonviolent? You mean selling drugs, Sheppy, is a nonviolent offense because they didn't actually kill anyone? Yeah, okay, I get it. And I'm supposed to be on vacation. But I couldn't. How can you be on vacation when the world is burning? Now, what I'm about to play for you is very alarming. I've gotten very excited. I've calmed myself down. I've gone from Beethoven's opening to Beethoven's middle. But what I'm about to play for you might alarm some of you libs out there. So I suggest you reach for your Prozac and your Valium. Here is the actual audio of your friend in Turkey screaming Allahu Akbar as he shoots the Russian ambassador in the head. You like it? You like it, all you liberals, what you've unleashed on this world with your psychopathic behavior? You like what you released? Get used to it because you own it. Now, have you translated what the Muslim was screaming? Oh, you all heard Allahu Akbar, didn't you? You heard that part of it? The Allahu Akbar part, you heard a little bit of. But did you hear what else he said in Arabic? We had to translate it. Would you like to hear what he said? Because I have it for you. I don't know if I should read it to you because it may upset some of you progressives in San Francisco. Let's see. I have it right here. Let's see. Michael Savage official site. I'm trying to get on my own website. I put it up this morning. I don't know why it's not in my hands. My producer didn't give it to me. Here, what the Turkish assassin was shouting on michaelsavage.com from the London Independent. I'm having a little internet trouble here on the beach. But wait till you hear what he says. Russian ambassador dead. Video shows assassin shouting Allahu Akbar after shooting Andrei Karlov in the middle of a speech. But I'm trying to read to you what he actually said. He said a lot more than God is great. He said stuff that might offend Anderson Cooper. Anderson might have to go for a personality transplant if you would actually read what the Muslim was screaming. Anderson might actually have to go into deep therapy for a month. We all know that he screamed Allahu Akbar. I said that. But he screamed, as you know, probably heard this too from all of the little boys in the media, don't forget Aleppo. Don't forget Syria. Now, that's, of course, a justification for the libs who voted for Hillary. They'll say, well, you see, it's because the U.S. and Russia killed the Syrians that he did it. Well, there's a sort of a justification. Well, then he said, stand back, only death take me out of here. And then he said, anyone who has a role in this oppression will die one by one. Then he shouted, God is great, Allahu Akbar. But he continued in Arabic, all you progressives out there in San Francisco. He said, this is a little connection for those of you who can't make the connections. I know many of you paint by the dots in your thinking. But he then continued and he said, we are the descendants of those who supported the Prophet Muhammad for jihad. Shall I repeat it for those of you who are called progressive? You suicidal maniacs will kill all of us. He said, after he shot the man in the head, we are the descendants of those who supported the Prophet Muhammad for jihad. Now, that would upset Anderson Cooper if he had to put that on CNN. That would kill him altogether, God forbid. And so the man is dead, shoots him in the head, and then puts out a big speech. Off-duty cop, got in there with a gun. Who let him in there with a gun? Why was he off-duty? Why was he in there? Who put him in there? Why was he in there? Now, of course, right after that, the police in Turkey came in, the tax squad, and they executed him with a machine gun. So that's very convenient, because he can't be interviewed. He cannot be interviewed, and he cannot be offered a job on MSNBC. That's the good news. The good news is the second part of that. The bad news is he can't be interviewed. The good news is he can't be given a job on MSNBC by Phil Griffin. But there's a siege right now in Europe, a siege caused by the worldwide progressive insanity. The cold-blooded terrorist and assassin was wearing a suit and tie. That's what happened. And he screamed. He screamed about his religion. He screamed God is great while assassinating the Russian ambassador to Turkey in cold blood. Can anyone explain to me what this has to do with striving and struggling in jihad? Haven't we been told over and over again by Hillary's minions that jihad doesn't mean holy war, that jihad is not a war against non-Muslims? Haven't the liberals inculcated your children in school to believe that the word jihad is not a bad term, it's actually a good term, it means struggle for God? It is a hate-mongering phrase. It is a phrase from hell itself. Jihad is a hell against everyone on earth, including Muslims who will not kowtow to these throwbacks. My friends, we have a big problem on our hands. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? That's what I'd like to know. What is Obama going to do about it? What is Hussein Obama doing about this right now? You know, the Quran tells a lot of these psychos what to do. If you actually read the Quran, you will find some pretty heartbreaking passages in it. You know, I'm writing a God book, so I'm reading in English translation from the Old Testament, the Jewish Bible, the New Testament from the Christian Bible, and the translation of the Quran from the Arabic into English. Quran 2, 191, 193 says, and kill them wherever you find them, and turn them out from where they have turned you out. And disbelief is worse than killing. Quran 2:44. Then fight in the cause of Allah, and know that Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Would you like a little other one, you progressives? Because let me tell you something. A fanatical Islamist does not distinguish between you and a right-winger. They'll kill you as fast as a bug that they step on. It's in their religion, in the Islamist religion, is to kill unbelievers, to cut your throat and to kill you. And if you think you're going to be spared, you're crazy. And so the issue here is what's going to happen next. He shoots an ambassador in the back of the head and then goes crazy. Starts screaming about jihad, going back to Muhammad and this and that. Not one word from Hussein, who's on a surfboard. At least Trump came out and said what it is. Trump said it like it is. Didn't he say he tweeted? He's right up the road from me here. I haven't seen him on this trip, but he's right up the road. He's busy. I don't know why he chose to have lunch with Carlos Slim instead of me, but okay. I'm a big guy. I mean, he wanted to have lunch with Carlos Slim instead of Michael Savage. I can't understand why. But at least he tweeted in the middle of the night saying terror was terror. He didn't hide that one. And there's Michelle and Barack still doing what they do best, which is race baiting around the clock. She won't stop. Have you seen what she's done lately? Here it is. Here's clip 11. Here's the ex-first lady. I can't wait till she's gone from this. I can't take it anymore. A whiny, spoiled, rich person makes believe she's a downtrodden, oppressed minority, using race as a weapon her entire life. Listen to clip 11. Listen.
And then you start thinking, oh, wow, we're so afraid of each other. You know, color, wealth, these things that don't matter still play too much of a role in how we see one another. And it's sad because the thing that least defines us as people is the color of our skin. It's the size of our bank account. None of that matters.
No. Wait till you see how she cashes in. Wait till you see her cash in at the end of the reign, the 8-year reign. Can you imagine her cash in? No, the bank account doesn't matter. Just in color, that's all she can think about. If it doesn't matter, why are you mentioning it? If color doesn't matter, why is it in your speech? Every time you give a speech, why is it about race and color? If it doesn't matter. It's unbelievable. You know what I dread the most? Is not that the two of them are leaving. I don't know where he's going next. The only guess I have is he'll go and try to take over the UN, but that's sort of a powerless position. All he can do in that position is stir up people around the world to hate America and to hate Jews. I mean, that's a steady job there. Comes with a very good tenure, stir up hatred against Israel and the West. So he has a big position waiting. Not a funny thing. Why did Merkel let this happen? Why did she release the killer? Why do you think she released him? Anyone want to know? Why did they release this guy? Everyone saw who did it. Okay, KMPT. Lisa, line 6. You talk, I listen. Fire away.
I think maybe Merkel released him to stir up riots, so because Trump won, she has to find another way to gain more control with the globalist agenda.
Well, you know she's up for re-election, and it wasn't a shoo-in for her. Now, this assassination of German people by the Muslim terrorist in the truck is not going to help her. It's going to hurt her. So I don't think she's behind this at all. The question is, why did she release the truck driver? That's the question.
Perhaps she was bought out.
No. A woman like her is interested only in power. She's power mad. And so she released him because they're going to try, in my opinion, they said, well, we don't know who did it. There was no DNA in the truck. Have you ever heard anything like this in your entire life? A man is seen by 1,000 people who he runs over and kills 12 and wounds hundreds, and no one knows who he is. They get the guy out of the truck, they pull him out, and because he doesn't have any DNA left in the truck, they release him. Have you ever heard anything like this in your life?
The only time I've ever heard stuff like that are a lot of the staged attacks here in the U.S. and around the world. It's just another example of them trying to screw up.
Well, I think that she released him in order to blame it on a right-winger. She is going to find some deranged right-winger in Germany. Mark my words. There's a good likelihood that she will blame the truck incident on a Nazi, someone from the right in Germany. That's what she's going to do. But the minute you see it, you know what it is. It's the Stasi at work. Period. End of story. Well, all I can do is tell you this is so agitating I had to come off the beach. And don't think I didn't enjoy it. I do. Normally I hate sand. I'm one of these people who I hate the sun and I hate sand. You say, well, what are you doing in Florida? I have no idea, but I'm here. But you know, I did something funny today. I'm just on a side note. I knew I was going to do the show because I couldn't stay away. The news is agitating me. I knew I had to talk about it. I knew many of you wanted a vent. And I knew that you're waiting online. And, all right, so you're going to call the show, which is okay. I thought it'd be winter weather in the South Florida. Winter's beautiful down here. You could sweat like in a sweat bath. I hate air conditioning. I'm sleeping in air conditioning. I ran away from a sore throat with 30-degree weather in San Francisco. So now it's like 30, it's just ice cold in the room now with air conditioning. Because if you open a window, you feel like you could die from the humidity. I woke up like my iPhone looked like floating in water on the kitchen on the bathroom sink. It's like sitting in water from the humidity. I never saw anything like it. The bugs are even running away from it. It's so humid down here, the bugs want to go to New York, I think, to get away from it. It's freaky. How could it be so cold in New York in the Northeast and so humid down here? Well, I guess it must be, fill in the blank, global warming, right, I'm sorry. Fill in the 30 degrees in San Francisco, summer over here. Yeah, what's the answer? Fill in the blank. Al Gore did it. Now, could you imagine what's going on with Turkey? What do you think Russia's going to do? Now, remember this. You got to remember this about Putin. He's a judo expert. He's not a martial artist. He's a martial artist in that judo is a martial art. But he's not a karate expert, for example, where you're going to strike back or block a blow. He's a judo expert, which is much different than karate or many other form. What happened just now? I got a break. You hear this? Just when my thoughts start to work, I have to take a commercial break, and thank God I do.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. The Turkish assassin was shouting. We have it on MichaelSavage.com. Merkel should be thrown out as fast as possible, and she should move to Syria herself and take up jihad for what she is doing to her nation. Meanwhile, in Manhattan, a tourist was knifed in the head.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
Your American flags, Moody Blue. End of Merkel? End of Merkel? Where did this witch come from? How could a maniac like this stay in office? How could Hitler's descendants stay in office like this? Now, wait a minute. I know she's not Hitler. After all, she doesn't sing the Horst Wessel song. She doesn't wear a swastika, and she does not invade surrounding nations and impose Germanic traditions and Nazi traditions on other people. But she is invading her own nation with Muslims and imposing Sharia law on her own people. No matter how many rapes, no matter how many murders, no matter how much crime, she is pictured minutes after the Berlin attack honoring migrants. If this is not the sign of a mad woman, it reminds me of Hitler in his last days with the arm shaking in the last days of Berlin, with the shaking arm in the back. That while the whole nation was falling apart around him, he was still giving medals out. Well, there she is, the oven stuffer. There is Merkel, the oven stuffer, seen minutes after the Berlin attack, honoring so-called migrants. Wait, to make matters even more interesting, the Stasi under her, the secret police under her, released the Muslim seen in cold daylight in the truck that ran into 12 people, injured scores of others. Took them in and they didn't have enough evidence. You hear this? They had a smoking truck, but it wasn't enough evidence. I'm listening to. Did you hear what I just said? What is she honoring migrants for? Who is her boss? Who is her controller? Why do I care? Why don't I why do I care about these things? Do you care about these things? Do you care that the Russian ambassador was shot in cold blood in Turkey by a Muslim screaming, Allahu Akbar, etc., that he's a descendant of Muhammad, kill the infidel? Does that bother you? Does the intolerance of Merkel, the insanity of her intolerance bother you? That no matter what the Muslims are doing in her country, she continues to flood the nation with Muslims. Does it bother you that Hussein is surfing in his last few weeks, and while Hussein is surfing away in Hawaii on your dime along with Michelle and the girls and the mother-in-law, while they're enjoying another Hawaiian vacation, luau's, whatever, he's freeing drug dealers from prison, and he is flooding America with as many immigrants as he possibly can. By the way, how many of these immigrants that Obama is flooding into America are terrorists from the Middle East? We get reports from the Border Patrol that in addition to warming up tacos, occasionally they do see people from the Middle East with Arabic passports coming in as Mexicans. Did you know that? That didn't make it to the San Francisco media. I get that. These are very important questions, and they plague anyone who cares about the future of their nation. And so if you're a man in the media, as I am, you come off vacation. I'm only down the road from Trump, and I don't know why he had the desire to meet with the gentleman from Mexico instead of me. He invited Carlos Slim to lunch. I don't know why, but he had lunch with Carlos Slim, not with Michael Savage. Now, it was I who got him elected, not Carlos Slim. I think Carlos Slim called him every name under the sun, but all right. Politics makes strange bedfellows. If he can talk to Al Gore, if he can talk to the nut from Hollywood, whatever he's saying, the phony hypocrite, Leon DiCaprio, he can talk to Carlos Slim, who obviously is a man who runs Mexico. Brilliant man, $77 billion of net worth, owns the media, gigantic telecommunications titan. Why shouldn't he have lunch with him? But here's the problem for Mr. Trump. He said he'd build a wall. He said he would eliminate NAFTA. Well, there's a man from Mexico who doesn't want that wall built, and he doesn't want NAFTA overturned. So what is Mr. Trump liable to do? We don't know. Just because he met him for lunch, and when they came out, he said he's a fine fellow, a wonderful man. It doesn't mean he's going to change his policies. It's going to be very interesting indeed come March 31st for Donald Trump. Because right now they are in the honeymoon phase. In fact, the entire transition team is right now not even in the honeymoon phase with the base that elected them. They are in the courtship phase. They're a little past the initial courtship with the speeches and the rallies and the wall and the banning the Muslim. That was the courtship. When the bridegroom tells the bride everything she wants to hear to marry her, to get her to the altar. Well, he got to the altar. He's now going to be president. And right now they're in a strange place, the transition team. They are all considered kings of the universe. They're geniuses right now. All of the president's advisors are absolute geniuses. They got him into the White House, so they say. Now, it's true that most of them weren't there 6 months ago, or 5 months ago, or 4 months ago. It was you who was there a year ago, 11 months ago, 10 months ago, 9 months ago, 8 months ago, 7 months ago. As Trump was building his support base, we were here for him in the media, and we're still here for him. Don't ever take my constructive criticism of Donald Trump for anyone who has turned on him. I have not turned on him, because just the generals alone are enough for what he's done. That alone is enough. Sure, I'm not happy with some of his appointments. So what? I'm not the president. He is. But I'll tell you this. You come back to me on this show, March 31st, my birthday. God willing, I should be here. Knock wood. That's the sound of my head. Knock wood. You come back to this show, March 31st, 2017, and you tell me what this is going to look like when, if he goes back on his campaign promises to such a degree that the base becomes disenfranchised, disaffected, and just moves away from him and the geniuses around him, all the geniuses around him, tell me what's going to happen then. Who is he going to turn to? Who will he turn to? Leon DiCaprio? Al Gore? Who's he going to turn to? All the people who spit on him and attacked him? That's who he has to have lunch with. Okay, I understand that. You triangulate the enemy. You bring them in. You make them think that you like them, you'll work with them. Fine, I get it. But at a certain point, he's going to need the very same base that put him in the presidency to support him. Because guess what? He's not a dictator. He needs Congress to go along with his programs, his plans, and his policies. Congress answers to the people. And although they're arrogant SOBs, we do have the power to lobby the Congress, the senators, the congressmen, and make them do the right thing. I'm not saying they will, but we have the power to make their life miserable or very happy if they stab us in the back. If they pull a McConnell on us, they're not going to be very happy people. There aren't enough coal mines in Kentucky for that Two-Face to hide in if he keeps doing this to us. I should stop right here. I'm not going to get excited. If that coal miner's daughter that gave birth to that man continues what he is doing, he will not have a coal mine left on earth to hide in. He'll be like Merkel in America if he does it. And I'm talking about McConnell. Well, I've rambled on enough right now. It's a very, very crazy time that we're living in. Picked up the New York Post this morning down here in Florida. I'm just flipping through, and I read a tourist is knifed in the head in Manhattan. He takes a girl, his fiancée, visiting New York City to propose to his fiancée in Central Park. You hear this? He's there with a group of friends from out of town. One of the flyover country people, one of the deplorable types. And he's 23 years old. He's from Washington State. He flies into New York to propose to his young girlfriend. And he proposes to her at the Woolman skating rink in Central Park in front of friends and family. And along comes a so-called nut. No description, by the way. No race, no religion, no looks. We don't know man, woman, height, nothing. That's the new New York Post. They're not allowed to tell you what. Be on the lookout. At all points bulletins, APB, be on the lookout. Attention, all cars, be on the lookout for nothing. I grew up in another time. I remember the movies in the 50s. You saw the cops, they put out an APB. They described the guy. White man, 5'7", beard, or no beard. There were no beards then. The only people who had beards were in the religious orders. The beards were not popular, or if you went nuts and they let you out of a bug house. But no one had a beard then. But they said, white man, 5'10", whatever, slim build, black hair, wearing a suit and tie, driving a DeSoto. Now nothing, APB. Attention, all cars, be on the lookout for nobody. So he's standing there, and a guy comes up with a knife and sticks it in his head while he's proposing. Attacker was lurking behind him and his group as they were looking for someplace to grab a few slices of pizza. He said the man, again, no description, shouting something. We don't know what he shouted, whether it was in English or another language. It could have been in Dutch, for example. Maybe he's a mad Dutchman. Could have been a Flying Dutchman. The man shouted something. Again, the New York Post doesn't say what the man looked like, what language he shouted in. I mean, there's a crowd. They could have. What a reporter this is. Sean Cohen, Daniel Prendergast, and Chris Perez apparently went to Journalism 101. The man shouted something. They don't describe the man. They don't know what he shouted, what language. Before running up and plunging a knife into the base of his skull. He recalled fleeing and pulling the blade out himself. I don't know. I got palpitations reason. I can't believe this. Wait, and he says, God was definitely looking out for him, said the bridegroom. No, God wasn't looking out for him. Are you listening to this The fiancé said God was looking out for him. They still believe in God when a guy puts a knife in the fiancé's head as he's proposing to her? They ought to join the Atheist Society after this. God was not looking out for him. God was on vacation. God was probably surfing on Jupiter. God was looking out for him. Unbelievable to me. All right. It's enough already of the sweat bath here. What are the callers about? 855-400. Why did they release the Allahu Akbar character? Why did they release him? The truck driver. What, was the truck driven by remote viewing somewhere? Somebody from another planet? A UFO did it? What do you mean truck drove into the crowd? Just like saying a fire started. It's like spontaneous terrorism now. Remember spontaneous combustion? If you left rags in the basement, they caught fire. That you understood. Now the newspaper man becomes like spontaneous terrorism. The truck drove into the crowd. Even ISIS took credit for it, but they haven't caught up with that yet at the New York Post. They're still busy plotting against Donald Trump. I need some tonight. I don't know. After this, I know what it is going to be. I know what it's going to be. Again, a walk with the singing again. Another a D-lister, but they're so much fun. The thing that I like about the guys, like this is like on the last stop after Las Vegas. In showbiz, right? Las Vegas is one stop along the way. Then there's a few other stops. The last stop is an outdoor bar near a beach in southern Florida. It doesn't mean they're bad people or they don't have talent. They do. This guy sang for 50 straight minutes. Not a break. Most musicians, 15, 20-minute sets, they have to stop. Their fingers almost break or their voice goes. This guy sang for 50 straight minutes, Elvis impersonation. And it wasn't voice syncing. I checked. And the flags came out, and God bless America. I thought I was at a Trump rally in the middle of it all. But the point was, all right, so he was a little overweight. It was like watching a guy in a suit for a movie in the 50s that he put on too much weight, and they couldn't get the right size suit for him. It was like a fat guy, but put on an Elvis suit for when he was 30 years younger, and it was bursting at the center. So what? He still could, he can't get a new suit, well, because it's marginal. Then the wife or the girlfriend comes around with the cup after. I felt bad for him. I threw him a 20. I didn't even put it in the cup. Because I knew if it went in the cup, it would go to the bar owner, and it split it up, he'd get $1 out of it if he got that much. So I reached over, I almost got electrocuted with the lights and the people and dancing and the flags. I put it right into Elvis's hand. He put it right in the kitty. I don't even think he knew what. Nothing. Took it right in, gulped in like a seagull. He went right into the kitty. I couldn't believe it. But at least he got a $20 bill out of it. Thank God. I don't know where he gets the energy from. What I'm trying to say to you is, you know, I love entertainers. I got to tell you this. No matter how depressed you are, why do you think we love entertainers so much? I'm running late, 20 minutes after Loquacious. This is the problem. Why do we love entertainers who really get us out? Because they get us out of ourselves. They get us out of the hatred, the murder, the insanity, the liars, and the deceitful ones. How much can you take of it? So you watch a guy who looks a little pudgy in an Elvis suit, and toward the end, the guy comes out, looks like his father, and puts a cape on him. It was unbelievable. It was so good, I did an act. I may put it on my Facebook. I'm not sure. I made up a whole song called Honeydew. Ask my assistant. Ryan has it. It's true I had a half a bottle of wine, but I sang a new song called Honeydew. It was so good. He said, where'd you get that voice? How could you sing a country song like that? Michael, where'd you get the voice from? I don't even know where it came from. I was inspired by the Elvis impersonator. I have to look at it and see if it's not embarrassing. I'll be right back. Liberals viewing what happened in Germany are going to buy the lie, hook, line, and sinker. They're going to say, oh, well, we don't know it was a Muslim. And ISIS took credit for it. He was initially arrested. He was a Muslim from Pakistan. Okay. Then all of a sudden, they find no blood on his clothing, and so they release him. That's how smart the German police are under the Stasi operative Merkel. Now, let me ask you a question if you've read even, let's say, a first-grade mystery novel. The Pakistani man, they find him and his clothes have no blood on it, right? But guess what they found? Blood-covered clothing in the vehicle. So you'd commonly figure, oh, so the Pakistani Muslim murdered the Polish driver, took the truck, went on the rampage, then changed clothing and fled. They caught him. Said, I didn't do it. I have no blood on me. But they released him? Now, is there an American detective listening to this show who would tell me that in America you would release a guy who everyone saw drive the truck, but because there was no blood on his clothes, you'd release him? No. Obviously, he changed what he was wearing after murdering the Polish driver, and they released him because they're looking to pin it on a white right-winger. That would help Merkel's re-election campaign. That's just what they need now. That would be like an obese person getting a lifetime visit to Papa John's Pizzeria. Free Papa John's Pizzeria for the rest of our life. That's what it would be like. Yeah, okay. Terrific. Just all the pizza you can eat around the clock. Free coupons to Papa John's. He doesn't even advertise. I'm just saying it. I never had it in my life. I don't even know what it is. I'm a pizza nut myself. I mean, if someone gave me free coupons to pizza, I'd probably die in a week. But the Muslim fanatics in ISIS are on a new crusade. We know that. Oh, yeah, they didn't teach you that. I understand that in elementary school. You're still hearing about Islamophobia. That's the latest. See, but that's the tail end of the Hussein administration. The tailwinds of the foul winds of Hussein are still blowing at us. And the foul winds are still blowing Islamophobia, Islamophobia, Islamophobia. Islamophobia repeated by, you know who, Wolfie, Tapper, Anderson. Islamophobia. That's the tailwinds still following. The dirty winds are still following Hussein. But you wait and see what's coming come January. You wait and see which way the winds are blowing. All right, here's a little something. Hussein, on his surfboard, just banned oil drilling in the Atlantic and the Arctic Oceans. And that's in order to secure his legacy. You know what his real legacy is? I'd like to tell you what his legacy is. I actually have told you what Obama's real legacy is. You can find his real legacy in Government Zero, which says a lot, and Scorched Earth. That's his real legacy. So today, Obama, meaning Hussein, on the surfboard, passes another stroke of the pen using a 1953 provision. He says, well, you can't drill in the Arctic and you can't drill in the Atlantic. And now some have said, come on, Trump's going to come in and use the same executive action to reverse it. But that doesn't stop the left-wing fanatics from saying, oh, no. Although Obama can use the stroke of a pen to do things, Trump can't do the same thing. We'll sue him. Well, I got a little news for all those people in the National Resources Defense Council and the other left-wing fanatical lying groups. You're not going to get your way. You lost. It's over. Get used to it. And we deplorables are here, we're near, and we're everywhere. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of us. We're here, we're near, and we're everywhere, and we won and you lost. So I guess Trump will issue an order reversing Obama's fascism, and then so-called environmental groups will challenge his actions in court, and then Congress will intervene, and then we'll be energy independent once again. Could you imagine if this country opens up all these areas to drilling, and that big oil find in Texas, the largest oil reserve in the world, is under Texas now, a new one? Can you imagine what the Saudis are going to do? What are they going to do for a living? There's going to be, I'll tell you, there's going to be a garage sale of Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Rolls Royces if we start exporting oil. What are they going to do for a living? They got nothing. Nothing. What do they got to sell? But we'll always support Saudi Arabia. Here's the thing you don't know. You think that because we're going to withdraw. No, it's never going to happen for one reason. Because if we let the royal family fall or get in trouble, who do you think will take it over? The Akhbar people, the murderers, the fanatics. ISIS will take over Saudi Arabia. Then we'll have a real problem on our hands. So we're not going to see the Saudis go out of business too soon, no matter what. So that's what I'm saying. You know, I went on vacation to get away from all of this. The family was worried. They said, you can't take this pressure. You put a year in to get Trump elected. And you got to take a break. But to me, a break is no break. How can you take a break when the world's burning? So as I said last night, I took a break. I knocked down a half a bottle of Pinot Grigio. I'm back to a little good wine. And I'm walking by. I said there was an Elvis impersonator. The guy was very good. He was so energetic. I got so worked up that I'm going to just play it a little bit. I want you to hear a taste of it. It's called Honeydew. I made it up in the street. I got so... I'm going to actually put it on Facebook, I think. I don't want to give Zuckerberg a dime of this. No. I heard if you put something up on Facebook, you lose it. So I made up a song called Honey. I lost it. You know, this is the thing down near the beach. Here it is. Robert's going to make it better. Here we go. Here, just listen. See how it sounds.
Honeydew. Oh, honeydew. I just come off the line, and you look fine. I might do it. I am a rejoicing. I write lyrics. Oh, honey, do. You sure do, honey, do. I just come off the line. You look fine, honey, do. I don't know, like it.
It was so beautiful, I got to tell you. No, I got chills up my spine. It's one of those moments, where you have such a good time. I escaped the jihad. I escaped the murder. I escaped the cardiac. I escaped the cancer. I escaped mortality. I escaped the crypt. I escaped the mausoleum. I told you that's what entertainment is. That's why we love entertainers. When you see a real authentic entertainer who puts his heart in it, we all love him. I mean, that's the reason. That's why I'd rather not talk about these guys. I can't take it anymore. I mean, I can play some tape of Hussein again. He destroyed the Democrat Party maybe for 100 years, and he warned Trump not to use executive power. So although he did it, you shouldn't do it. And although I did it, he said, Hussein, I didn't really want to do it. I had to do it because no one cooperated with me. But since you're Trump and I'm not Trump and you're Trump, I did it. And I'll try it. You shouldn't do what I did because I'm different than you, and you won't get away with it, I promise you. Listen to O2. You're not going to believe this.
I think that he is entirely within his lawful power to do so. Keep in mind, though, that my strong preference has always been to legislate.
I don't mean to invade Poland, but yeah.
And
I don't mean to invade Czechoslovakia, but those nasty Czechs wouldn't give back the land.
In Congress.
Right.
I bent over backwards consistently to try to find compromise.
I can't. I get palpitations lately. I'm getting, listen to this guy. My skin, I get palpitations and I turn hot, like a hot flash from him. When are they going to be gone already? We had the election. Can we just change the rules after the election? The other guy leaves. They give him a couple of cartons and he goes. The movers come in. They take it down to the studs. They redecorate. I can't imagine what that White House is going to look like a year from now. He's a builder going in. And the wife has some taste. They're going to take it down with new curtains, rugs. What are they going to do with the room where Al Sharpton slept? That's what I want to know. We're going to I can't say. It's a family show. Oh, as a kid. Oh, this is great. This is terrific. Here's number 15. They're rewriting their legacy on NPR and all of the liberal outlets. Listen to this one.
Candidate for the presidency speaking in such terms about women, as I said, was not a normal thing. So my response, in light of what I was seeing from my female staff, what I was hearing from my daughters,
70 personal assistants
to it, for me required a different kind of response. You can't just stand before people and just give a regular political speech. I was scheduled to go out on Stump right after this was happening, and the question was, well, do I just go out there and act like that didn't happen? Well, that's not true. That's not honest.
Mumbling about.
And that's something that Barack and I have always tried to be in this office, is honest. So that people feel like when we say something, we do mean it.
Yeah, well, you have 70 personal assistants, and I guess you can be very honest about that. You want to be honest, Michelle? Why don't you tell us how much of the taxpayer money you spent on your personal assistants, your vacations, your family, your children's friends taking trips with you? How much did you expend, if you want to be so honest? Abe Lincoln's wife there. Woman snaps at Wisconsin electors. You don't deserve to be in America. This is not America. Get over it. You lost. How come they don't move to Canada with Trudeau, the ballerina? Why don't they move up to the ballerina's country and do us a favor? All of the cranks. Where's Michael Moore? I'd have him arrested for threatening terrorism against Trump. I'd give him a lifetime Papa John's certificate. No, Michael Moore, disrupt the inauguration? That's not a terroristic threat? The Secret Service can't take Fatso and put the blimp away during the inauguration? All right, whatever. And Bill Clinton's back again? Do you see this one? Is anyone listening out there? What is wrong with everybody? Where are they? They listened for the first hour and they're gone now. They turned off. They said, all right, he's back for vacation. I enjoyed it. But what are they doing? Packing presents today or what? The show is heard across America right now. New York on the East Coast, ABC. West Coast, KSFO. Texas, I'm doing the point. The big KLIF, Dallas. And the ratings are off the charts. Good, great, big. Where are the callers today? What's going on? What is the MPLS? Am I actually Robert, am I broadcasting? Did the MPLS break down here? Where are there? There's like one caller there. Some guy like Steve from Providence. Multi-protocol label switching. I have one of the best systems in the world down here. MPLS. I'm just miles away from Trump. I keep saying that like it means something. But he had Carlos Slim to lunch instead of me. I don't understand that. Carlos Slim didn't get him a vote. I got him a lot of votes. All right, but he doesn't need me now. He needs Slim right now. I don't blame him. He's got to do the right thing. Eventually, in 3 months, they'll be calling Mike. I can guarantee you. As God is my witness, you'll be hearing from him again. Oh, yeah. And by the way, there's always an open door to Donald Trump on this radio program. Love the man. He's a godsend. The staff will be gone within 3 months. The arrogant ones around them right now think that they're riding high, that they did it. They're gone. They're gone. They'll be gone. You mark my words. Watch. Out the door. It'll be you're fired. What, do you think they're there forever? You think it's a lifetime? You're going to see a you're fired job. One will go to work as a cheerleader for the NFL, probably in a short skirt. You'll never hear from her again. The next one will open a website in Yugoslavia specializing in souvlaki around the world, like delivered to your door. Special souvlaki around, souvlaki to go. I got this in the mail. I never eat listener food. I'm just talking now, just rapping away. Because I had enough of the Quran and I can't take it. I do like my heart's skipping a beat from it. It's so awful. First of all, the weather itself could put you in an emergency room here. I never saw, let's go to Florida. Let's go to Florida. It's nice in the winter. It's not as hot. It's not humid. I say, sure. I don't mind the cold in the San Francisco area. I love it. No, Michael. You need to go to Florida. You'll swim. You'll bicycle at night. It's a steam bath. A steamer. I see guys like on Atlantic Avenue. Look, I haven't seen them since Scungili days in New York in Little Italy. I'm talking 300-pounders. Don't look at them wrong. They'll break your neck with their hand. They'll snap your neck like a breadstick if you laugh at them. Go laugh at them and that they're fat. They don't look like Anderson Cooper. Go ahead. Go make a laughter at them. The guy sits in a chair. I don't mind it. It's a funny thing. I made a reservation last night in a restaurant. I never go. A Greek joint. It was good, by the way. The food was fantastic. I went in at noon. I made a reservation. So the guy says to me, which table do you want? Now, give me the one on the end where no one will be outdoors. I get there. There's a 350-pounder at the adjacent table with his back exactly to the chair where I was going to sit, and there was no way to engineer yourself into the chair. No way. Impossible. I picked the one table with this guy, a 350 to 400. I never saw anything like it, but healthy. You don't want to mess with this guy. The face, not like a sick fat guy. I made this mistake in grade school. If you pick on a fat kid, you can get killed. You don't realize underneath that is like a strong person. There's strong people underneath all that weight. Look at the animal kingdom. An elephant looks fat, right? If you're a gazelle, then go laugh at an elephant. Look at the elephant. Look how fat it is, right? Crush you. But the same with people, man. Don't think because they don't have abs, they can't kill you. What do you think? Because a guy don't have abs, he can give you a swat with the hand and you're dead. Like a mountain gorilla. But I didn't look but I was looking at him because it was like a force of nature. I couldn't help it. I was drinking my wine, eating like the hummus, the pita, much better than anywhere I've had. Homemade, nice. The Greeks are nice people. These Greeks are very nice. Thank God they left Greece. Great restaurant. And I'm looking at the guy. He didn't know I was looking. Now you can look at people without them seeing you look at them. I have a technique, a lifetime where you can steal a glance. But you don't want to get caught with a really heavy guy like that from New York with a chain, with a cross. You look at him too many times, you're going to get swatted. The next thing you know, you need a SWAT team to save you from him. But nevertheless, the guy, I was trying to wonder what he was eating. I was trying to was a guy like that eat in a Greek restaurant, number one? No, I know it wasn't Greek. Like, I'm not Greek, but I was in there. But I know what to eat. I mean, I was all vegetarian, What would he eat? Like souvlaki? I think, because it's not like I know what he would eat in an Italian restaurant. I guarantee I knew what he would eat. Some sausage, horrible coronary blocking foods. But in this place, it's very hard to get coronary blocking foods. The Greeks, thank God, still have a good cuisine. Look at them. I mean, they're with the smoking even, they still have a good longevity. Even with the rotten air. I never saw, the Greeks have some of the most polluted air on earth. It's so bad the Parthenon is rotting from the pollution. But nevertheless, so I don't know what he ate. I was trying to see it. But to the right, I thought I was okay. On the other side, bingo, 5 minutes into the sitting, in comes a family like from Malaysia with children. Tables were moved, chairs were moved, high chairs were scraping. But the children were so well behaved, it was shocking. They were not American children from San Francisco. Because in San Francisco, God forbid, you get the older parents with the children. Oh, God. A whole lesson. Every time you try to drink a glass of water, it's a lesson. They make the child perform so you think that they're smart children. They didn't. The Malaysians were nice. The children sat quietly. They had devices and they worked. No binging, no banging. Thank God there were no coloring books. I would have left. If they pulled out the Crayolas, I would have asked to be moved inside next to the kitchen. I would have sat in the kitchen. If I see a Crayola, I lose my appetite. Where did the Crayola in restaurants come from? I cannot eat around Crayolas. I don't know what it is. The smell of the wax, the dye. I don't know what it is. But in San Francisco, they bring the kids in, and the first thing is the child. I don't know how old the child is. They must be a nervous breakdown. The children at 2. Listen to the child. The girl's name is Ann. Ann, they want you to listen to this. Can you name all the capitals of all 50 states? I swear to God, I've heard this. Very good, Ann. And Donald, that's the son. Donald, can you name the capital of Jordan? And if the kid doesn't answer, it looks like he's going to break down in tears. This is what you get. I feel bad for the child. It's not that I'm anti-child. These parents are nuts in the Bay Area. What do they have to give you a lesson there for? And they stay home and do it. But no, these kids from Malaysia, they were well behaved. They had a helicopter mother, a tiger father, whatever. And they were quiet. I don't know I didn't look at what they had. I wasn't interested. I'll be back in a minute. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Savage Nation from my hidden location on the beach here in southern Florida. It's not so hidden anymore. I've been telling you. I mean, there's almost so much I can take of the Allahu Akbar, the Merkel and the Germany and the this and the murders and the this and the Trump. So I told you I went last night. I saw an Elvis impersonator. I got so incredibly happy to see this entertainer that I started singing, and we recorded it. So let's hear what it sounds like. If it's terrible, I'll turn it right off. I want to just hear it. Let's hear it.
Honey, honey, do. Oh, honey, 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 do. I just come off the line, and you look fine. I might do it. I happen to enjoy singing. I write lyrics. Oh, honey, 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 do. You sure do. Honey, do. I just come off the line. You look fine. Honey, 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 do. I don't know, like it.
It's pretty good, I got to tell you. The girls love me. That's all I can tell you. The crowd loved me. It was spontaneous. I wrote a song on the spot. So at least I have my post-radio career. We don't know what Obama's going to do now that he's leaving the White House. But I know that when I leave radio, whenever it is, I may just become, a performer in an outdoor bar somewhere on a beach. It could be worse. If I can make up a lyric like that, someone will rip it off by tomorrow. What can you do? I'm not going to promise you. I'll promise you one thing. I'm not going to promise you change, and I'm not going to promise you hope. This is the Savage Nation. The 2 hours of the first 2 are almost up. I know some affiliates go to places. That's a far, far better place than they have ever been. But I will be here for the other affiliates who love Michael Savage and keep him for the full 3 hours. And again, I want to remind you that this is a vacation week, and I came back off the beach collecting shells just for you, my audience, because the truth is I love all of you, and I thank you for listening. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back. Be here or be nowhere.